Okay, hello, Plus Me family. Welcome to another Our Stories Matter Feature Friday segment where we conduct interviews with community members and center the conversation around the theme of the week. And this week, it is all about your future and thinking about what you want your future to look like. For our Feature Friday interview, we have Andres Magana, who is the Director of Community Engagement at the Wall Las Memorias here in Los Angeles. And he is also a fellow alum. He's a fellow Lion. So we both graduated from Loyola Marymount University together. We
That's right.
graduated in the same class. So I'm so happy to have him here. Welcome, Andres.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Thanks, Bethany.
I'm
Huge
so
fan of
excited.
y'all. Me too. Me too. Me
Okay.
too. Too. Love what you guys do. Love what you do. So super happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Thanks, Andres.
For sure.
Okay, so we're going to hop right into it.
Let's do it.
So the first question, when you were younger,
Yeah.
were there things you worried about in regards to your future that you wish you hadn't worried about?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I thought about this pretty hard. Um yeah, I think growing up, you grow up thinking that you have to fit into this box, this like perfect box that it's gonna make your family happy. It's gonna build this like future for you that's just like secure. And I think now as a adult, can I call myself that? um, as an adult, I'm really seeing like what it really was to them for me to be successful. And it's more about like happiness, like personal happiness, more than anything else. It's not about career. It's not about the lifestyle that I live or who I'm around. It's really about like the true authenticity of like being happy. Um, and I wish I didn't have the pressure that I
Mm,
put on myself growing up,
mm,
thinking that I had to like live up to something that was clearly not there, that wasn't existent, that I had just made up in my mind. But I think it's common. Like I think we all go through that. I think we all have this like, ooh, I'm only the best when I hit this level, whether it's like in your career or whatever it is,
mhm,
social status, whatever. So yeah, I wish I had really like thought about that a little bit earlier. Um, I'm lucky now that I'm in a place that I can like step outside and kind of like realize what it is to be successful and what it is to like have like a good future for myself. And it's so much more than the grades that you get, the car that you have,
mm.
the amount of followers you have on your social media. So yeah, I wish I had thought of that a little bit sooner. But I've had a great childhood, and growing up has been an adventure, which I think is what it should be.
Yeah,
You make friends along the way, like make friends with you. And you just have to like realize like these are like special moments and special people and special things that are gonna make you truly happy. And it's not so much about everything else, all the material stuff and the academics and all that. So yeah,
listen, I
know what I
think
mean?
I do know what you mean. I feel like so many students will be able to connect with that. And you're talking about the pressure, the
Yeah,
self-imposed pressure that you're putting on yourself to be or to have,
yeah,
and this idea of success that might not really align with where who you are and where you want to
right.
go. And I think it's something that you learn as you get older, like
Hmm.
defining success for yourself and what that looks like for you and
Right.
being at peace with that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Um,
And
I know
being
it's,
okay with like the bends like along the way, you know? Because at one point you're gonna love something, the next day you're not gonna love it, and be okay with like that growth, you know? And
right.
kind of recognize it, because that's what really builds you up, I think, as a person, as a character.
That's
So
true. And I didn't like that. That was one thing that I would worry about when I was younger. I would worry about the bends, or because, you know,
hmm,
you have this idea that success is going to be like this straight
yep,
path, and it's not a straight path at all. And so feeling like ashamed or like I'm falling behind from the rest of
yeah,
my classmates.
hmm,
Um, and I wish I hadn't worried. I worried a lot in
yeah,
my youth, and I think about all the times I missed out on where I could have been happy, but I was
hmm,
so just worried all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, you feel it. And you get that from like all sorts of different avenues, you know. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's at home, sometimes it's at school, like you're competing with classmates. But just like be okay with like the journey, you know?
Right. Trust the process.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you, Andres.
No problem.
Okay. The next question is, where do you see yourself 5 or 10 years from now, professionally,
Ooh,
emotionally, mentally?
well, hopefully out of quarantine and done with social distancing. Hopefully.
Yes.
Um, no, I guess professionally. So I work for a nonprofit, which again was not what I thought I saw myself being in as a college student, and definitely not as a high school student. But I'm really in a space and in a community that's really reflective of who I am right now. And I think that there's still a lot that I can contribute to that community and to that space. So I think 5 years from now, I went through a decade because that's a long time. But 5 years from now, still like being very active. It's a nonprofit that deals with like social justice and health and wellness for a number of different communities. And I think there's a lot to like contribute to that still. There's a lot of work to put into that. Um, and I think I'm in a place and in a mindset that I can still contribute to that. So professionally, still see myself doing that work, and hopefully like doing some healing with the community
Mm,
along the way. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like you want to grow in whatever platform you're in. So to just like point out all these problems and all this stuff without actually doing the growth and the healing,
mm,
um, I see it a little bit like hard. So I would hope that we're doing some progress in 5 years as a community. Um, and mentally, like, yeah, just like I'm a big like family guy, so I'd love to see like my family like grow, um, and still be together and still like cherishing like the traditions that we have and appreciating the culture that we have. So yeah, so hopefully in a happy place 5 years from now.
oh, you will be for
Yeah,
sure. For
yeah.
sure. That's good. I'm happy with the. I like the work that you do. I feel like it just is in alignment with who you are. You've always just been this kind, caring person.
Uh,
So, I mean, I can see your community work
mm,
continuing for sure.
thank you, thank you.
What is the first thing you will do when social distancing has ended?
First thing, so I've been really good about like keeping to myself. Uh, you know, we did make a pact with my like immediate family, like my mom, my dad, my brother, sister-in-law, and obviously my little niece, um, that we could keep on seeing each other on weekends.
Hmm.
Um, After that 2 week quarantine at the beginning, but to keep that circle kind of small and
Hmm.
tight, just to be like precautious. So I think once the social distancing ends, probably definitely see my friends. Maybe throw like a huge like barbecue or like some picnic somewhere outdoors. Yeah, I miss that like human interaction. I mean, we go on Zoom all the time, but it's not the same as being in front of your friends and being able to laugh and make jokes and catch up. It's different. So definitely looking forward to that. And you're invited, Stephanie, of course.
Obviously,
VIP.
obviously, exactly VIP. You already know I dress VIP. Have my
Well,
plate ready.
roll out the red carpet. What else you want? I got
Maybe
you. I got you.
some paparazzi.
I'll hook it up. Don't worry about it. I'll work on
So sweet.
it.
I think everyone else wants to do the same thing. Just connect
Yeah.
with their friends and their family. Like we're
Yeah.
missing that.
I mean, humans are so like social, that's like a part of our being. So it's wild that we've been going through what 3 months now of none of that.
I
Um,
know.
it just blows my mind, but we'll get there soon enough.
I, I think so too. I think
Yeah,
so too.
yeah, it'll be fun.
So for this question it can be a challenging one, but do you think our past is an indication of our future?
I think in some ways it is.
Mhm.
Like we said before, like we grow from the mistakes and from the challenges and from the barriers that we faced in the past. And that helps like shape the character of the person. Um, but I don't think it defines. It doesn't. There's no destiny to it. You know,
Mhm.
you can
Mhm.
really make your future whatever it is that you want it to be. Um, and keep in mind all those things that you went through. Those are scars
Mhm.
that you earned, and I say that in like a very positive way. Um, I don't think you can talk to a single person who hasn't gone through like heartache, whether romantically or like a loss of a family member or whatever it is, whatever the case is. But those moments like really define like who you are and who you're becoming and who you will be. So I think the past plays a big role um, in your future, but I don't think it doesn't shoot you towards something specific. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's how you interpret it. It's how you react to it.
Right.
Um, and I would encourage always react to everything.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, it's not always, doesn't mean that your past is going to define you. And I think
Yeah.
it's about learning from your past and whatever you've gone through to evolve into the person that you want to be. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it doesn't have to define who you become.
And you shouldn't forget it. That's like a
Right.
big thing. Like, don't forget it. And don't forget your family's past. Don't forget your community's past.
Hmm.
This is all part of this like big picture, I
Hmm.
think. And I think, yeah, we play a big role in that. So it's definitely being aware
Hmm.
of yourself. Um,
No, I like that. This idea of, life as this big picture, and you can't really see the whole thing
no,
until, until time has passed and you can
yeah,
see how the dots connect and how
yeah,
every step was necessary.
yeah,
Um, so I like that. It's the
yeah,
big picture.
exactly.
And for the final question,
It's already over? What? That's so quick.
I know it's
That's
so
so
quick.
quick.
I know. Um, how should we move forward as a global community? I mean, especially if we're considering everything that's happening now with the
Yeah,
protesting and,
absolutely.
racial injustice. So, what do you think?
Well, I think we've been a global community for some time now. At least like you and my generation, like half of our lives was this idea of being part of this like global, and it came through like the internet. It came through like social media platforms. Communication just exploded at one point. Um, so I think what's happening or what's been happening is there's just been a lot of people voicing what they want to voice and putting out content and putting out opinions and putting out ideas and that's all great, but you need that kind of like step back where you also need to be on the other end and receive it.
Hmm.
I don't think we are doing that. I don't think we've done
Mm,
that maybe until it's recently, like because of like this week's events and situations and all that. So I think in order for us to like really be a well-rounded global community is don't just put out, but also like listen to what people have to say and really let it absorb in your
mhm,
mind and your soul, um, and contribute to that conversation.
mhm,
You don't want it to just be like static. You don't want it to be one way. Um, but yeah, really like take it in and listen to people. I think that's the best thing that we can do. Even in smaller communities, you know, everybody has an experience. Everybody has lived their own lives. Um, and I think it's time for us to just like take it all in, you know,
mhm,
really like realize like what's going on outside of yourself.
mm.
Um, be a little less selfless, or is it
Selfish.
selfish? Yeah,
Yes.
be a little less selfish and be more selfless. Yeah.
No, I
Um,
agree.
mhm, yeah.
I mean, if anything, this pandemic has given people the opportunity to focus on other things, right? Especially when we're talking about this social unrest, this civil unrest that's going on. People have the time to really look and see and reflect on racial injustice and a lot of
Mhm.
the systems in our world that need correction and rectifying.
Yeah.
And it is a time that people should be listening for sure. And my hope is that as we move forward as a global community, that yes, we listen to each other, but that we also develop a level of empathy for each other and
Absolutely.
the situations that we're going through, and realize that we are all connected, and what affects one person will eventually affect the other
Yeah.
to some degree.
And we're starting to see that. Like
Yeah,
that's so hopeful. Like that's such a like great feeling to see like even that like tiny like sliver of like light. It's still light, you know.
right.
Let's get it bigger, and brighter.
I like that. Even if it's a tiny sliver of light, it's still light.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
So,
Andres, you're deep.
oh, you know, sometimes, especially during a pandemic, like, I have a
Especially,
lot of time to think about things. So,
that's so
yeah,
true. And I'm
yeah,
so glad that you're able to express some of these ideas and thoughts
yeah.
with plus.
Thanks for providing the platform to do that. It's great stuff you guys work with. I've known you guys now for a little over a year now. Yes.
Mhm.
See you guys getting those awards. See that recognition in the community. That's amazing. That's great. No, it's really good stuff that you all are doing.
Thank you. We're
Really proud of
trying.
you. Yeah.
Thank you. We're doing our best to build our own community, and that includes every one of you that's watching and that's participating in Our Stories Matter. So thank you for being a part of our growing tribe. And be sure to tune in next week, which will be our final week, our final Feature Friday interview. Um, so yes, be safe, you guys, and I'll see you next week.
Sweet.
Peace.
See you.